Hey guys, what is going on? Today I have 50 travel photography tips to take your photos to the next level. Alright guys, so I got the idea to do this video from Two Wandering Souls. They did a blog post on 32 photography ideas for traveling, and they included us in there. I decided to run with that article and make 50 tips on making better travel photography. If you want more travel photography tips, go down into the description, check out their blog post. I've linked it down below. Also with this video, I've reached out to a bunch of different influencers, other Instagrammers, travelers, photographers, and I had them submit some of their best travel photography tips. So guys, this video is a bunch of tips that's a collection from a bunch of different people. Before we get started in the tips, guys, I'd love it if you go check out their Instagrams, go see who they are, what they're all about, go give them some love. I've included links to all of their accounts down below. Everyone here is an awesome photographer and they put a ton of awesome content out there. They're giving away some of their best secrets so you can be successful when you're taking photos out on your next adventure. This is a big one. There is a lot of content to unpack in here. Sit back, relax, check out these 50 tips to up your travel photography game. If possible, always shoot raw. This will provide a ton of flexibility in post when editing. And when in doubt, underexpose the photo because you'll be able to regain most of the detail, but if the photo is overexposed, the details are lost forever. The general rule of thirds. Most cameras and phones have a grid. Try to place the most important aspect on one of the 4 intersections. Charge all the batteries. Although it may seem like a boring tip, this is a useful one. Having multiple charged batteries ensures that you'll be capturing a once-in-a-lifetime sunset, that candid shot of your family, or the gorgeous hotel that you're staying in. We usually carry at least 2 extra batteries for each device, and make sure to pack all the chargers and cords necessary. It's all about perspective. A lot of people will be visiting the hotel you're staying at or the beach you're walking on, but how many will be laying on the ground to get the perfect shot? We found that looking at things from multiple perspectives enables us to create an original and unique photograph. So get down on the ground, look up, look down, look everywhere, and get a different view than you're used to. Bring the necessities and narrow it down. I love to have mobility to trek to remote places and not worry about my back breaking. This also forces us to get creative with smaller perimeters in terms of gear. Insurance. I have had all my gear stolen off a rooftop during a shoot in New York City, and thankfully State Farm saved the day. Connect with others, talk to locals. It can be easy to stay at a hostel with other international travelers, but look into a local bed and breakfast or an Airbnb where you're renting a room in a house with others so you can get to know the culture on a deeper level. If you see something while shooting in the street, it never hurts to ask someone to take their portrait. I've always regretted not asking, but I've never regretted asking. Bring your camera everywhere. But we all knew that, right? Shoot in the moment. People can spot a posed photo a mile away, but when you're shooting in the moment, capturing the real, raw emotion and actions that aren't staged, your photo will feel more organic and relatable. Get in your photos. It took me over a year of photography to finally realize this. I had hundreds of photos from around the world that I wasn't too excited to post anywhere, and I couldn't figure out why. Anyone can take a picture of a monument, beach, building, etc. If you get in the frame, it adds a perspective and some personality. It also makes your photo more unique and not like any other photo on the internet. Nate is always carrying our vlogging camera while I take pictures on a different one. So it takes more time and planning to get a photo with one of us in it, which is why I didn't do it for so long. But the effort is totally worth it. Carrying cameras around can attract a lot of attention to yourself. A lot of times we embrace that and we take it as an opportunity to ask the locals if they mind being in the photo or video. Sure, there are a lot of people who are not into it, which is a little awkward, but I can't even count how many times this question brings hugs and smiles to their faces. Just make sure your camera is ready when this happens for the priceless shot. Most of my best travel photos are taken either at sunrise or sunset. I use the mobile app Sun Surveyor to know the exact time of the sunrise and sunset in my specific location, as well as the exact path that the sun is going to take throughout the day. Be sure you know your location at least 30 minutes prior so you can set up your camera and don't miss the shot. When posting your travel photos to Instagram, crop your images to the 4:5 aspect ratio. This allows your photos to take up the maximum amount of real estate in the feed, which will lead to higher engagement from your audience. Be sure to keep this in mind as you're out shooting, and compose your photos accordingly. Challenge your perspective. Is there a famous landmark you want to shoot? I guarantee everyone and their mother has taken a picture at eye level straight on. Even Google Street View probably has the same photo. Find a new vantage point, climb a tree, get on your butt, sneak into a rooftop bar across the street. Yes, we've definitely done this. Whatever it takes to make it fresh. Tell a story. I think the most important thing is to tell a story with your photography. What is it you're trying to say with your photography and why? I think if you consider the aim of your travel or photography, you start to move and shoot with more purpose and direction. Your work will have more substance behind it, and people will really be able to feel and engage what you're doing. I can guarantee, if you find this purpose, you for one will feel way more excited and motivated by your work, and at the end of the day, that is what matters most. Learn color theory. When considering the composition of a photo, it helps to think about what colors will be present. Certain color combinations are more visually pleasing than others. The colors that are opposite each other on the color wheel are considered complementary colors. A few examples would be red, green, blue, orange, purple, and yellow. So if you're going to shoot a photo of yourself in the woods, perhaps consider wearing something red as it complements the greens of the leaves, moss, grass, etc. You don't need expensive professional gear to take great photographs, but you do need to understand your camera. While I think it's important to invest in a decent DSLR camera, you don't need to get the top of the line model, especially if you're a beginner. Shop within your budget and take time and learn and understand your camera and the basics of photography principles before you travel. You can find a good camera for under $500 if you shop older models or consider buying used. Enroll in a photography course and spend time watching YouTube videos to learn how to adjust settings on your cameras. And then practice before you leave for your travels. Have patience and think about your shot. Aside from the usual suspects of mastering composition, light, and technical stuff, our biggest tip would be have patience with your photography. Sometimes you're so worried about getting the shot that you start snapping away without really stopping to check your settings or think about the scene in front of you. When you do that, you tend to miss out on many great photo opportunities because you haven't taken the time to really absorb what's around you. There's nothing worse than looking at your photos later and thinking, if I'd only get the shot from this angle instead. When you slow down, you'll start to see these small details and a totally new way of composing shots. ND filters are your friend. Invest in a quality travel tripod and a set of ND filters. Neutral density. I'm a big fan of long exposure photography, and you'll need to keep the camera as still as possible. The ND filter is essential to capture these shots during the day, because what they do is they cut out how much light hits your sensor. If you're near water, it flattens out and really makes that photo pop. It takes a bit getting used to, but once you learn the basics, it's really addicting. Use any natural elements, colors, or textures around you. They've always added such a great pop and unique spin to the usual travel photos you see in popular destinations. Make your photos stand out and not look like every other photo that was taken in the same spot. Wake up early, stay out late. Not only will you catch more sunrises and sunsets, but if you're around when it's not peak tourism time, you'll beat or miss the crowds. And you'll be able to get those epic postcard photos you dream of. Early morning or later in the day are also great times to get some beautiful lighting. While traveling and shooting street photography, keeping your camera in this mode will ensure that you don't miss the shot because of exposure. Keep your ISO slightly higher if you're moving between shade and direct sun. Take into consideration the size and scale of both of your subjects. If a building or monument is massive, make sure to have the person stand far enough away to fill enough of the frame so they don't get lost in the photo. Don't make your viewer play Where's Waldo. I only use prime lenses for two reasons. One, I'm so familiar with all my lenses that I know exactly how far away I need to be from something to capture the shot I had in mind. Two, primes have a wide aperture so I can shoot in low light without a flash, and I can get insanely shallow depth of field to isolate what I want to photograph. Setting your camera into burst mode means that you'll get several shots taken with a single click of the shutter. This is especially helpful when you're trying to take an action shot, like a whale breaching on the water surface. Carry a small tripod. A tripod will seriously up your photo taking game. There are several reasons for this, but one main reason we carry a tripod is so that we can get shots of epic landscapes with ourselves in the picture. Have patience, especially in crowded places. Getting epic shots in famous places takes time. You can't expect to show up at an iconic spot like the Eiffel Tower or Cinque Terre and get the perfect shot on your first try. You'll need to be patient with the crowds and wait for people to pass by. You'll likely have to take several shots just to get it right. Try a polarizer. This is relatively inexpensive and that will really take your landscape shots to the next level. Polarizers work best on sunny days when the sky is blue and will make the colors pop, like the blue in this glacier lake in the Himalayas. Don't be afraid of rain or clouds. Cloudy days can sometimes be disappointing when you're on vacation, but often they make the most interesting photos. Clouds soften the sun's rays like a natural light box and make it possible for you to get great shots even in the peak of afternoon. They also create cool, moody effects that will make your pictures more interesting than if you had a clear blue sky. Make sure your lens is clean. This might sound obvious, but time and time again, that I return home from an epic trip to when I find my pictures on my computer, there's a spot in every single shot. Pay attention to what you're wearing. Not saying that you should carry an unrealistic floor-length dress on a long hike so you can get a pretty shot at the top. But if you're headed somewhere that you really want a photo in front of, avoid shirts with writing, stay away from super busy patterns. Also consider colors that are neither dull nor super bright, and avoid shirts that will show sweat stains. It happens to the best of us. Change the focus point. We all love photos where the subject is in focus and the background is blurred, right? Practice this technique by focusing on unexpected points like a flower in front of a church. Take a photo in the exact same spot with the flower blurred and the church in focus. Sometimes the unexpected focal point makes the most interesting photos. Change the way you look at the world. There's beauty all around you, whether it's flashy or not. Sometimes it's not easy to see, like a white sand beach, but other times beauty can be imperfect, the everyday. When you start seeking out beauty in everyday around you, you'll notice the reflection in puddles, the patterns in tiles. You'll notice the texture of the tree bark and how the small hole in the fence makes a super unique shape. You'll start to love graffiti and the walls covered with interesting vines. You'll start seeing beauty in unexpected places. Capture it. Don't overthink it. This might sound contradictory after just piling up a list of tips and things to think about when taking photos. But the thing is, even if you're a pro, you can't do all these things each time you snap a photo. And sometimes when you have a moment or two to capture a shot, go for it. Spontaneity is beautiful. If you have the time, look at your pictures and think about how you can make it better and snap another. There's not much that would ruin a trip faster than losing all your photos. I used to think I'll just back up my pictures when I'm at home, but I can tell you from experience that you may not have that luxury. Your memory card that you're using could be damaged or your camera could be stolen. I'm not trying to scare you, but I do want you to be prepared. Use light and shadow. I'll put the camera down and watch how the sun rays affect the scene in front of me, and then look for a way to capture it with a unique perspective using the shadows. Organization is key. Find a system that works for you. I organize all my photos by year, month, day, and what we did that day. This way I can always find what I need quickly in both Lightroom and I can find them on my hard drive in the same way. Unfortunately, it's very rare that those epic shots you see all over Instagram are made in camera. It's amazing what the editing software can do with a raw photo. Spend time learning Lightroom because as soon as you start enhancing your photos, you'll be able to create some stunning pictures. Share your photos immediately. This may seem obvious, but don't sit on your photography. Upload your photos and share them in your social media to get instant feedback. The more you put yourself out there and the more you put your photography out there, the better you'll get as a photographer because you'll get feedback, because nothing big is built in a vacuum. You'll start finding out what works and what people really like to see. And you'll also find what you like sharing. Check your sensor. There are so many times that I've changed lenses and something has gotten the sensor while traveling. The last thing you want is 100 photos with a dot on them. Bring a small handheld air blower and clean out your sensor while on the road. Find a bag that fits your style. I've gone through so many travel photography bags to find one that I really like. You need to figure out how you shoot and what's easy for you to get the gear you need while out and exploring. Don't be afraid to break your gear. This is why you get insurance on everything. I've destroyed so many cameras and lenses over the years, but guess what? They're always covered. If I left my camera in a safe spot, then I would be missing out on so many epic shots. Do your research. Before you get to a new spot, check out what other people are posting from there. See what kind of photography they're capturing. This will give you insight into what you might need to bring with you. Don't be afraid of the dark. Night photography is a ton of fun and it's not as hard as it seems. You just need a tripod and to learn the basics. There are so many tutorials on YouTube and you can do it with any camera even if it's not the best in low light. It just takes understanding how to open your shutter and let more light in. Clear your cards every day. Every night before you go to sleep, dump your photos on a hard drive and back them up. Fresh cards each day mean that you'll never have to worry about running out of space or losing your shots because your camera gets stolen or broken. Make sure you have enough hard drive space and a backup. I was on a trip once where my friend ran out of hard drive space on day one of a 2-week trip. Always be prepared with your gear properly and know that even if you shoot every day, all day, that you'll never run out of space on your main drive or your backup. Also think about backing up on the cloud. Then you don't have any chance of losing any of your photos, even if everything got stolen on your trip. Less is more with gear. Don't bring everything under the kitchen sink when you travel. If you bring too much gear, then you'll get bogged down trying to use it all. Think of the absolute essentials to get the shots that you like to take. Learn every inch of your camera. The internet is exploding with information. As a photographer, you'll need to get past using the auto setting. Go through your camera's manual and learn every button and every function on your camera. Once you've mastered this, then when you're out shooting, you won't be fumbling around and miss the moment. And the last tip that I have for you is sometimes we forget to put down the camera. When you get somewhere and it's amazing, take it in, grab some awesome photos, and set aside the camera. We've traveled with other couples and have seen their entire trips ruined because they're way too focused on getting the shot for Instagram. Unless you're getting paid a ton of money, you're not there just to capture photos. So enjoy the moment, take it all in, enjoy the experience. Alright guys, so do you think those tips were helpful? There's so much to learn here from all these tips. You don't want to get out there and just be fumbling with your camera and miss the shot. It's all about capturing the moment. It's also about experiencing the moment. Especially what I was saying with my last tip is that it's all about enjoying the moment. You don't want to focus all your time and effort on just getting the shot. There's so many times I've seen it happen in front of me where people are so focused on just getting the shot that they forget that they're actually traveling and that this is an experience. And you want to be here and experience it. So guys, when you're out on your next adventure, make sure you take time, soak it all in, enjoy the moment, because it's pretty awesome to be able to travel and be in a world that's so connected nowadays. All right guys, like I said at the beginning, make sure you go check out everyone that has contributed to this video. They're all awesome photographers. I want to say a special thank you to all of them for contributing their tips, because it wouldn't be possible without you. And guys, if you haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button, turn on those notifications, and check us out on Instagram at Wanderworks. All right, that is it. That is the 50 travel photography tips. Guys, if you want to see another video like this, I'd love to hear from you. So leave me a comment down below, and I will see you on the next one.